Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video, we'll be doing the in-depth review for the Samsung Galaxy Ultra fitness smartwatch. And I wanted to take my time before I produce this video. So in this video, I will let you know what are the things that I liked about this watch, what are its shortcomings, who is this for, because it has that word ultra. And guys, if you don't recall, last year I was not keeping that well, and from last year fitness has become a very important aspect of my life. In fact, in December, I had posted a video about my health issues and something like that. And that video had now got almost 1.3 million views. And that video was very, very important. It actually motivated a lot of people. So now fitness has become a very integral part of my life. And in fact, that's the reason you see that I no longer post so many videos or cover so many products. I've decided to cover limited about those products and only products that I believe in and I can use myself or recommend to my friends and family. That's why I am just being over selective about the products I cover. So yes, I feel this Ultra watch is an important watch regarding what you say Android Wear, but again, it also has a lot of shortcomings also because I have told you I have become really particular about fitness, and I started using this Garmin watch for tracking my fitness and to improve my overall health. And I feel this is the gold standard. And now as Samsung has brought this Ultra, I feel this Ultra moniker should be for people who are looking for that fitness aspect a lot more than just a smartwatch. Because if you just want a smartwatch, you also have the regular Galaxy Watch 7, which does almost 90% of the stuff that this watch does. So first, I've actually written down a lot of notes and stuff like that. So we'll go over all those aspects. First, let me talk about one thing, and many of you are also have talking about, and I won't get into what is the physical aspects, and you have seen all this. Okay, yes, this comes in this box. This is also there in the box. The strap actually is outside, so you have to plug it in like this, and we have a charging pack. That's it, no charger, etc. in the box. So this is what you get in the box. I'll keep this stuff to this side. I'll talk about the charging also. And first thing, let's talk about people are comparing this with Apple Watch Ultra, and I agree to a certain point and I disagree to a certain point. Yes, I feel using this color and the strap, the color and all that strap is very similar to the Ultra. Ultra also that orange branding and stuff. But in terms of design, I would say this is very different in terms of design compared to the Ultra. I'll just zoom in. This one actually is, if you notice, this has a squarishness and a circular. And this is not the first time any watch is using. This is actually known as a pillow design. And I feel for this Ultra, this is actually a good design. If you notice this watch closely, you see a nick over here. And as I've told you, this is for people who are like into fitness and all and want to use the watch ruggedly. So even this exterior chases that it has, that pillow design or whatever you call, will protect the watch with bumps and stuff like that. And I think I've got a major scar over here. And I think so because of the durability of this watch, the material, it has survived. And again, like even the Apple Watch Ultra or even this Garmin that I have, this is a Garmin 7X Pro, their top of the line watch. In fact, very expensive. I think so this is now about 110,000 or something like that. This also is made up of titanium and has that sapphire glass. That's why that durability is there. And that's the same durability that you get even on this Ultra. That is the big difference, I would say, from the regular Galaxy Watch 7 and the Ultra. And if you see, there's a big nick over here I have. And if it wasn't for this titanium frame and the sapphire glass, this watch would have shattered. Again, I was just doing sprint runs in my house and accidentally it banged to the wall. So again, in terms of durability, yes, you have that Ultra moniker. And I think so in terms of durability, it stands close to the Garmin's or even the Apple Watch Ultra. And that build quality is there on this watch. So that way, I am happy about it. And that's the big difference, I would say, comparing it to the Galaxy Watch 7, which cost almost half of this one. You're paying that premium for, yes, of course, that slightly different design, but more for that rugged build quality that this has. That's why you're paying the premium, because the processor is actually the same in the Galaxy Watch 7 and even on this one. Yes, this has slightly better battery life, about 20% more, but apart from that. Okay, so That's regarding the comparison, I would say, regarding the Apple Watch Ultra. I feel because of this orangish color band, everybody is looking. But in terms of design, I would say this pillow, what it has, will age a lot better in terms of durability if a watch gets banged up or something like that. That's my frank opinion. Okay, next thing that I wanted to talk about is the battery life on this one. Samsung says this has one of the biggest battery that they have put on a Galaxy Wear watch, and from a specs point of view, that is sort of true. But let me talk about real world usage. And as you can see right now, I'm just enabled the always on also on this one. So if I just move my wrist like this lights up. But if I just keep it like this for a couple of seconds, this active one will fade, but still it will show the time. And this is the always on mode. So the battery life that I was getting in this always on mode, and even the Apple Watch, etc., all of them do have that, was just about 2 odd days, which is actually quite less, I would say, in my frank opinion. But I've asked some people who actually have the Apple Watch Ultra. I would say here the battery life is slightly better than the Apple Watch Ultra, about 15 to 20% more. So I'm actually used to Garmin. Garmin actually gives battery life about 14-15 days. As you can see, it's right now showing me 17 days of battery life. So I'm used to that kind of battery life. So I had to actually remove this always on display. And here I would say with regular usage, runnings, etc. I'll show you the running stats, etc. In fact, I was wearing one watch here, to compare the statistics, the heart rate monitoring, the GPS accuracy, etc. between these two. I'll show you all the stats later on. But let me talk about the battery life. And in this mode right now, if you just flick your wrist, it'll show the time, and afterwards it'll just go away like this. Here, I was getting a battery life of about 3 odd days. And only when you keep it in the power saving mode or whatever, then you can expect about slightly more than 4 odd days of battery life. But again, in that mode, it is like putting your smartphone in an ultra power saving mode where a lot of functionality gets disabled. So that way I would say battery life, yes, certainly if we compare it with the other Android Wear watches or even the Galaxy Watch 7, yes, this gets slightly better battery life. But again, still, I would say for a athletic kind of person or something like that who's used to proper fitness watches like this, the battery life is still mediocre. In fact, now what I'm doing, how am I using this one? Because I've been using it now for past almost 2 weeks. I don't enable that always on. So whenever I flick it, it comes. And in fact, this works very well. The flick thing, if you just flick it, it comes. So that way it's calibrated very well. I'm using it like this. But every day when in the morning hours, when I go to shower or something like that, then I put it on charge. That's the only way I'm able to last it for a proper 1 week. Otherwise, because the problem is that this is the charging pack, and this is very similar charging pack to earlier, Galaxy watches. Nothing much has changed. But again, the charging speeds, if it depletes very low, let's say 5% or something, the charging speeds via this pack is extremely slow. It takes over 2.5 hours. So I feel for a fitness watch, for an ultra watch or whatever, charging speeds could have been faster on this one. So I'm not happy with the charging speeds on this one because Samsung says that it does your sleep tracking and all those things. So I was also actually wearing it towards sleep to get the sleep tracking and all those things. So if you are actively wearing it all the time, where will you have the time to spend about 2.5 hours for it to charging? So I feel that charging speed should have been increased. And in fact, instead of this puck charger like this magnetic charger, they could have done what Garmin has done. As you can see, the Garmin has a Poco Puck. So actually, you get a USB cable that plugs in directly towards this. If Samsung would have implemented something like this, then the charging speeds would have been a lot faster. So that is regarding the battery life. If we compare it with Android Wear watches, it's good. But again, if you compare it with the Garmin's and the other fitness watches in the world, then the battery life is still, I would say, mediocre. Certainly better than the Apple Watch Ultra. I think so. Their only competition was the Apple Watch Ultra. And in that aspect, yes, the battery life is slightly better than that. Okay, moving to some of the advanced things that I like on this watch. In fact, some of these features are not there even on my Garmin, which is considered the gold standard in the fitness watches. So there are some things, for example, you have the ECG on this one. Blood pressure monitoring is there, but for this blood pressure monitoring, you have to first actually calibrate it with the blood pressure monitor. So if you have a blood pressure monitor, you start both of them and you match the values with them. Only when you do that, then it'll start working. Apart from that, we also have ECG on this one, and this also works. Let me actually show you the app. So this is the Samsung Health app that we have. But one thing to note is that if you want those features like ECG and blood pressure, I think so this will work only on Samsung smartphones. Because if you notice, this is a separate app, Samsung Health app, and this was not available on the Google Play Store, but Samsung's built-in store, which works only with Samsung smartphones. So for the ECG and blood pressure, yeah, you can use it and you get the history and all these things. You get the reports like this. In fact, it said no problem, and I could attest to this because just last month I was actually having quite a bit of chest pain for almost 20 days. So I decided to do a complete heart check and all those things. They actually put 12 electrodes on my chest, did a lot of tests. Also, I ran on a, what do you say, treadmill continuously and all this thing, and they determined there's no problem with my heart. And later on, they diagnosed that I was doing some extra weight exercises, and that was actually putting strain on some of the muscles. That's why I was getting. But the good thing is that during those tests, I was actually wearing my Garmin. So when they were doing the treadmill test for me, with all the electrodes and it continuously doing the ECG, it was also tracking the heart rate in real time. What I loved is that the heart rate, what I was getting on the scientific medical machine with all those electrodes, was exactly almost the same. There was just one heartbeat difference between what the machine was showing and the Garmin was showing in terms of real-time heart rate. So even the doctors were very impressed. They said, oh my God, the accuracy is so good. They say that for many of the other watches or whatever, there is a deviation of about 7-8 heartbeats easily. This was almost real-time, 1 second, one heartbeat difference between that. So yeah, so that way I would say, I know the heart rate calibration on this Garmin is spectacular. This is the app that you get, and here again it shows you all the stats and all these things, basic stats. What I like with this one, and again Garmin also does not do this, is that for this body composition, actually it has a test. Again, this is not only in Ultra, even the earlier Samsung watches had that. You can just go here again, you swipe. Okay, where did I put? Okay, here. So you can press measure and put your fingers like this, and this will actually measure a lot of metrics. With the Garmin, it just estimates it based on your weight and what do you say, your height. It's just a calculation. Here it actually measures this. So this is something that I like, and this is still there. Again, as you can see, it'll give you idea about your skeletal mass, fat mass, body water that you have, body fat and all. And these are essential things if you want to know the state of your health and body. So these are some of the things that this watch does well. Now this is a new feature on this one. This is known as the AGES index. I don't get it. What is this? Just shows something like this, not a number or whatever. And yeah, that's it. So this is something, this AGES index that it has. So this is a new addition that they added in the Watch Series 7 and even in this Ultra. But again, it doesn't give you that core data, what metrics you can work on to improve it. For example, on a Garmin, we have a fitness age thing. Your actual biological age and what is your fitness age. My actual age is 47 and a half, but my fitness age Garmin shows is 43. It was, now it is 44 because past 2 weeks I'm not wearing it. And it changes that you have to wear it continuously. So it actually gives you a metric how to even improve it. So this is something like that, I think so. Of course, one more thing that I do not like, again, this is an Ultra, is that as you can see, this checks your heart rate about whatever that I have kept it over here also, and 80 beats per minute. But the thing is that this auto checks this once in every 10 minutes. Yes, you can actually go here in the settings and change it to measure continuously. In fact, all Garmin's actually measure this continuously throughout the time, and the heart rate, if I wear it right now, it's not showing. Just put my finger, it'll take some time. This heart rate actually is in real time, so it tracks it automatically all the time. So here you do have that setting to do it. By default it is switched off. By default it is every 10 minutes while you are still, and this is okay for most people who are not in the core fitness and all those things. But I feel you get the best results. Your resting heart rate when you're sleeping, etc. You want the accurate results, it has to be done in measure continuously. And I did try doing it measure continuously once, but the problem was that then the battery depleted quite a bit. In fact, I had to charge it within about 30 odd hours. So that's the thing with this. Yes, there are all the features that you have, but if you want to enable all those features, then the battery life will take a huge hit. But I'm glad that those features are there. That's why if you can charge it every day, I call this fitness watch, I would say, if you want to use all the features, you'll have to charge it every day. Now let me actually show you some of the runs that I have done so that we can track the accuracy of both these watches. So generally these are for my fitness. I go for morning jogs and stuff like that. I generally run anywhere from 3 kilometers to about 5 odd kilometers, sometimes even 10 kilometers. So what I was doing for the past couple of weeks is that wearing both the watches, this was on the left and this was on the right, and tracking my runs and stuff. So let me actually show you the data, and this is the data that I got from Garmin. So I'll just open it, and what I like about Garmin is the moment you open it, it gives you statistics about last 7 days and something. Here, to get to that, it is done, it just goes internally. Here I have a problem. I feel the software is almost the same as the Galaxy Watch 7. Here for the Ultra, they should have changed the metrics software, like what Garmin, the sports data, whatever you're doing, comes at the front. For here, you have to go dig in. Okay, let's just go to these last couple of runs. For example, this is the last week's data. So let's select, because I ran for that 5 kilometer also. I'll just open that. I'll just open this one also. So this gives an idea about the running and all those things. So average about 5 and again workout, you could say 42 minutes, and here it was 42.06. yes, 2-3 seconds you can just, but overall if you look at it, the distance that they actually calculated was almost very similar. Pace was slightly different. Here it showed me the average pace was 8 minutes 20 seconds, and here 8 minutes 23. So that is what it, but let's also go down and look at the lap time. Here I noticed a slight difference. I don't know why there was such a big difference. For the first lap, here it showed me is that lap is 1 kilometer, 8 minutes 11 seconds, but the Garmin was showing me 8 minutes 27 seconds. Here again, this increased to 8 minutes 28, but here the second kilometer was 8 minutes 23. So there is some variation that I was getting on it, but overall if I look at it, overall at that 5 odd kilometers, then the gap actually reduced. Here one thing that I noticed, and this was peculiar, is that overall if you look at the long term, the entire run, if I go back to the heart rate, average heart rate is pretty close. Here it said my average heart rate was 151, and here it was telling 149. But during the actual run, if I open the stats, here it has opened the stat, what I noticed is that this Galaxy Watch, in the initial run part, I would say during the first half a kilometer, it was consistently showing me heart rate more than what the Garmin was doing. And I know the Garmin is super accurate because I have done that test with all the medical equipment, all 12 electrodes stuck to my test and checking the heart rate. This was showing me a heart rate of about 169, whereas the Galaxy Watch was showing me a heart rate of 166, 167. And I noticed this elevated heart rate with this one for almost about half a kilometer in the run. After that, I was just looking at, almost both of them were very, very similar. Just about one heartbeat difference between both of them. So I don't know. Initially, and I noticed this multiple times, I'm getting a slight spike in the heart rate when I start the run initially, but after half a kilometer run or something, it settles down. One more thing that I noticed is that uh, when I'm running, I run continuously for the jog for 1.5 to about 2 kilometers. Then I notice that my heart rate increases and it goes slightly above 170, 172. So I try to slow down. I actually, instead of just jogging and running, I try to walk for about 100 odd meters. And of course, your heart rate will fall down. But what I notice is that the heart rate was falling immediately from, let's say, that 172, 174 to just about 135, 136 on the Galaxy Watch, which is not true because heart rate actually does not fall like that. Here on the Garmin, it was showing me about that 150 or something like that. The heart rate actually gradually comes down. And again, after a minute or so, this one caught up with the reading what this one. So I would say, yes, overall, if you look at it, the heart rate accuracy, it matches the Garmin in the long run. But in some of the middle intervals, if you're looking at, it might not be super accurate. But again, it takes a little bit of time to settle down. That is what I have noticed. But one good thing is that because now this one also is having the dual GPS, I feel in terms of that accuracy of the maps and all those things that you're running, it is very, very accurate. Another one small thing that I liked on this one is that, again, this one also actually calculates the VO2 max. And here I feel now this Galaxy Watch Ultra is doing a far better job compared to the earlier Galaxy Watches, because last year when I was not that well, to be very frank, when I checked with the Galaxy Watch, it showed me a VO2 max of 42, which was strictly wrong because I was simply not well. I know. And when I wore the Garmin, it told me after my whatever runs and I did, my VO2 max was a poor value of 34. So now I'm happy that the Galaxy Watch VO2 max value is not that far off. It is 42.8 that it's showing. On a Garmin, if I go here, it is actually showing me. If I go to maintaining, I have to wear this to do it. It doesn't detect. That's the problem with this one. To wear this to actually, okay. It is showing me a value of 42. It does not show me in points or something like that. So now I feel, at least in terms of the VO2 max values, this Ultra is now getting pretty close to the actual VO2 max values that I get. So that way I would say, in terms of the sensors and the calibration, what they have done, this is a lot better. And I can now sort of trust the values that it is showing. Garmin, I don't like that. It doesn't give you the values in the middle like this. Just it's 42, then it'll directly go to the 43. And trust me, VO2 max values take a long time to improve. In fact, from increasing from the 40 what I had to 41, it took me 4 months. And right now the Garmin is showing me 42. It took me almost 1 month of vigorous exercise to improve that much. So this is a value that increases very, very slowly. So now I would say maybe my VO2 max might touch 43 also in the next couple of months. It'll be interesting to see that. So that way I would say, in terms of tracking, yes, it is good, but sometimes it might show you when you're initially just running or doing some hard exercise, the initial peak might be a little bit higher than what it is actually there. So that is something that I have noticed consistently in multiple runs that I have done with this much. Even I did a treadmill on this one, and it was the same thing. It stabilizes after a couple of minutes. So that is what I have noticed. One good thing is that, again, this also has this button, and I don't know, again, this is a copy. I don't get why you have this button. You have this button, you can tap it to anything, but here it's a quick way to actually just start any activity that you want. So that's what it is, and this is for the back. And you press the top button, it just goes to the home. Apart from that, in terms of functionality, it's very similar to earlier Galaxy watches. It's a proper Android Wear. So again, it also has that voice assistant. We have Bixby. I can just hold it like this. What's the time in New York? Yeah.
It's 2:12 in New York City, New York, USA.
So this functionality is there. This is simply not there on a Garmin. You can't talk to it. In fact, you can't even take calls with the Garmin. Yeah, I have taken some, what do you say, voice calls also on this one, and that works. So that way, I would say, in terms of full functional smartphone watch functionality, this is there. In fact, this is a WhatsApp message or whatever they have done, my friends full marathon group, and I can actually tap on it and actually do a reply by just using voice, and it will stand that. So that sort of functionality is not there, and that works actually pretty well as a smartwatch. With these features, that voice functionality and other, I would say it's 95% accurate on this one. Okay, now let's move to the things that I liked on this one. As I've told you, the VO2 max values, now I can trust on this Ultra. HR, that heart rate monitoring, mostly accurate, but yes, you might get some spikes. Now that finally, because this one also has dual GPS, so that map accuracy when you're running or whatever, if you want to map it, it's actually fairly accurate. Now, to give you an idea about the summary, I have actually written it down. What do I feel about this Galaxy Watch Ultra? Who was this for and who was this not for, and what I felt after using this watch as my primary smartwatch, fitness watch for 2 weeks. Okay, summary. Galaxy Watch Ultra is the most rugged Android Wear smartwatch, but still I feel the battery life is average for that Ultra watch. I think Samsung had a goal of competing with Apple Watch Ultra. And yes, in battery life, it exceeds slightly the battery life that you can get with the Ultra. But for serious runners or active professionals that are targeting that health and all these things, the target should have been Garmin, which is the gold standard. Here, I feel the Ultra still has a long way to go in terms of battery life and some of the accuracy and the fine tuning that can be done. But again, if you want the most rugged Android Wear watch, then Ultra is the one for you. But if you don't care about that extra ruggedness or something like that, then the regular Galaxy Watch 7 will offer almost everything that this does at almost half the cost. I hope in the next variant of the Galaxy Ultra watch, or Samsung might call it Ultra 2 or whatever, they should try to compete with Garmin and not with Apple Watch Ultra, because that's the real Ultra watch. I hope you found this review helpful. And again, still, I would say if you want a proper full smartphone, a smartwatch functionality with that voice calling, replying, etc., and budget is not an issue, and you want that ruggedness and something like that, and with the Android Wear watches, this is the most rugged one that is available as of now. But again, for that, you will certainly be paying that premium. I hope that you found this video review helpful. And guys, if you're still not subscribed to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, guys.